And that's the theme that I want you to walk away knowing about Noble Blackwell.
All aboard the night train.
He was a visionary, and he was always willing to break down the barriers and not be held back because of what someone said or what they thought.
Welcome back to Noble Blackwell's Night Train, Episode 2. I'm your host, Noble's grandson, Jay Isaac. Yes. Night Train was not the first music variety show, but it was the first to be syndicated and broadcasted to other countries. In 1952, Dick Clark's American Bandstand started production in Philadelphia.
When American Bandstand was on, the young people wanted to dance, but they had no place to go.
Although black artists were featured performers on the show, during the 60s, only white youth were allowed to dance on the show.
This was the case for many music programs, but there were still black music variety shows that would air locally, giving the young high school and college students in those communities a place to dance. In 1958, Teenage Frolic aired on North Carolina's local TV station. It was hosted by radio and television personality J.D. Lewis. It's considered to be one of the first regularly scheduled television programs hosted by an African American. Teen-O-Rama was another popular local show that aired in D.C., just 1 year before Night Train. On a national level, it was tough for blacks to cement their place in television as shows were frequently being canceled. The first U.S. network television series to be hosted by any person of African descent was The Hazel Scott Show. She was a jazz singer and a musical prodigy who performed show tunes and other numbers live 3 days a week. In 1956, Nat King Cole hosted his own show with a similar format.
Cuba, that's where I'm going. Cuba,
But it was canceled because white advertisers would not support this show even though they loved the music.
Back in Nashville, there hadn't been a local dance show for black youth, which inspired Noble to do something about it.
Noah Ball had a show with white kids. And Noble said, I would like to have a show for the black kids. Give us something. So they hung around and then he finally got them to say, okay, we'll do this. But now we can't give you no 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. We got to give you some on the weekend, 10:30, 11:30. Figure everybody be gone. Nobody gonna sit there and watch no Night Train. Right. But they were wrong.
In 1964, Noble Blackwell's Night Train was broadcasted on WLAC in Nashville, Tennessee.
And audacious hello to you, Buddy and Stacy riding the shockwave with...
Part of what made Night Train unique was its hour-long runtime, airing Fridays and Saturdays at midnight for 2 consecutive years. With the growing audience, the show's success had a great impact on the community. The local businesses that bought commercial slots early on saw great benefit, and of course, it posed a rare opportunity for any black singer or musician at the time. Night Train fit perfectly into the already thriving R&B music scene that took root in Tennessee's version of Black Wall Street.
A few years before the interstate arrived in the area, Jefferson Street was a thriving place for black business and music.
Jefferson Street was like Beale Street in Memphis. They had clubs, that's where everybody played.
We were in the time of segregation, Jim Crow. A lot of the artists was afraid.
And into that steps a Nashville radio DJ, Noble Blackwell.
He was like an Ed Sullivan to us, in the neighborhood.
Even though Noble intended for Night Train to be a show that the black youth could dance on, the pastors in the Southern Bible Belt had other ideas.
Churches, the pastors here in Nashville, Tennessee, they didn't want the children to dance. Then he decided that he would use the local talent. That's how this young man came about.
Here is Jimmy Church.
Jimmy Church.
Jimmy Church.
Here is the electrifying Jimmy Church with a blues kicker called Get Down With It.
Get down with it. Gonna do the jig.
Night Train was it. You know, TV show, it just opened the doors.
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour. That's when
So much to say about Noble. When I first met Noble, I was told about Night Train getting ready to start. He's so impressive. When he talk, he's so educated and know how to say words in the right way. He said, you look like little Jackie Wilson there. You know, I can do something for you. So, yeah. He said, we're going to do a show. And we're going to call it Night Train. And I'd like you to be on the show. And if it works out, I'll be your manager. I'll put you on every one of them. I said, well, you got it. I ain't going nowhere.
This is the brilliance of my father. What happens is when you have your local artists doing what we call cover a song, it gave popularity to the song. So when the national recording artists came to town, they would sell tickets. And because the show was syndicated and being seen, and name some of the places, Frank, that the show was broadcast.
A lot of the places was overseas in Germany, Japan. I've had calls from Japan and England about the Night Train show, where was it recorded, and this and that.
In just a moment, we're going to right back and shout a little bit along with the Commanders. I want to know, do you feel all right? I want to know, do you feel all right? You know you make me want to throw my hands up and throw my hands.
Night Train was a jumping off point for me and my group, Frank Howard and the Commanders. When Noble asked me to do this show, we were running around here playing sock hops, and it was amazing how our popularity just increased tremendously from that point on. It's no telling how many negotiations he had to go through to get this TV show. And it was a great TV show, believe me when I tell you. It was really wonderful. I remember my dad had said, Bubba singing that devil music. I ain't watching it. And my mama would call me and say, your daddy stayed up and watched y'all last night, you know. So it was a great show, but what made that show was Noble Blackwell.
And an audacious hello to you.
People always said my grandfather had a way with words. I find this clip interesting because opadacious is not a word. The prefix opa originates from Greece and means to express celebratory or joyous spirit. And the suffix sounds more familiar. It's used in words like audacious. If you look it up, you'll find that there is no definition. So I think it's only fitting that we define it for you now.
Generously joyful.
Highly contagious.
Intended to be shared
With a vast and diverse audience.
Not long after Night Train debuted, Noble took the show on the road and launched the Night Train Review, a touring show that frequently partnered with local schools and community organizations to host fundraising concerts featuring popular Night Train performers.
There wasn't a lot of TV variety shows where you could see the entertainment. So people came, those concerts were packed.
I didn't go on many of the shows that we did out, but we and the group went on a few of them. And it was just amazing how he treated us, how he never had to worry. I've been in music a long time, and there was very few people that I can count on one hand that were honest, that we didn't have to worry about our money. Noble Blackwell is the top of that list.
Performers really had to bring their A game and captivate audiences with their moves like Buddy and Stacy and Shotgun.
Wow. Tell me if you saw what I saw, because I thought I saw them doing that 1993 Macarena dance, you know what I mean? And also,
I know he probably saw that dude who was jamming out on the guitar there. That's the infamous Jimi Hendrix.
For many black singers and musicians, this would be their first television performance, including a 21-year-old Jimi Hendrix.
Thanks, Jay. November 20th, 1988, the Night Train reunion held at the Ritz Showcase on Clarksville Highway. The program highlights local talent my granddad featured. Mr. Gorgeous George, Ironing Board Sam, Avon, Peggy Gaines, Fred Waters, Commanders, Johnny Jones, Earl Gaines, the High Tones, and so many others like Jimmy Church who are still performing today.
Hold on, Britt. We can't talk about the musical genius of Night Train without talking about the musical genius behind the music, and that was Bob Holmes. He was the one that not only wrote all the music, but did all the arrangements for all the musicians and the singers and groups on the show.
So Otis Reddy was on the Night Train show. Gladys Knight, the Pips, Joe Tex, Little Richard, B.B. King was on it. I know one incident where we had James Brown, and one of the camera guys had never heard James Brown. He asked, "Who are you?" James Brown, with the kind of ego that he has, he was very offended. So we had several kinds of incidents like that.
To them, this was an opportunity for global exposure because Night Train's popularity had crossed the race boundary, helping to push the acceptance of R&B music and culture. Noble fostered an aura of acceptance and appreciation on Night Train, but the best way to explore this is to look at one particular guest's appearance, Jackie Shane. I'll let my cousin Sydney introduce you.
Hello, my name is Sydney Bozeman. I am a vet student at the illustrious Tuskegee University. For this segment, my friend Sammy is joining along the ride.
All aboard!
I'm hopping back on the Night Train for more good entertainment. Whew, Jackie Shane, an American soul and R&B singer. In the 1960s, she pioneered for transgender performers and identities to be shown on a global scale.
You see, Jackie Shane was originally from Nashville, but at the height of her career, she moved to Toronto, Canada, and made a name for herself. We recently got to sit down and talk with the director of her documentary titled Any Other Way.
She chose not to be on the American Bandstand because they wouldn't allow black children on, She chose not to be on Ed Sullivan because they told her she couldn't wear her makeup, And so I think in my mind, I sort of simplified it to she chose to be on Night Train because Night Train allowed her to be herself. But she kept repeating that she wanted to do that show because she had so much respect for Noble and what he had done in the community. Jackie hadn't been back to Nashville since she left. And she left because of Jim Crow and because of all that meant, but also as a trans woman, the additional dangers. And there was some painful and complicated memories with family. She saw her biological father on that trip. And she also didn't like traveling. She didn't, I think for her to return to do that show under those circumstances at that time, to me shows how important doing that show was, both for her, in terms of what that show did for artists and the platform it gave them, but also I think it was maybe some sense of duty or some sense of honoring Noble.
Hey, walking the dog, Jackie Shane.
Thank you for joining. We hope you have been entertained and have recognized Noble's contributions to pushing R&B to the forefront. Now, on behalf of my family, we want to invite you to join us for episode 3, The Intersection of WVOL.